So it's been a really long time since I did the last episode in, I guess what you could call this series. I think I've said on 2 separate occasions that that's actually the last episode, but either way, we are back with another episode of 5 of the coolest mods to get released in the past week. If that title isn't descriptive enough, what this series is all about is me showing you 5 of the coolest mods that came out over the past 7 or so days. That's kind of a rough 7. With the announcement of Fallout 76, I actually kind of fell behind on this, so there's kind of going to be a bit of a backlog, but a lot of cool releases over the past week, and in this video I'm going to show you all of them. If you enjoy the content, you can actually leave a like or a comment. That helps boost things with YouTube's internal rating system, as well as watching to the end is always one of the most important statistics. With that all being said, we could just jump into the video. So the first mod I am showing you today is going to be Buttons. Buttons is going to be a new companion mod for Fallout 4, and it's been a while since we've had one of these. There's actually, I think, an Enclave or Brotherhood companion that came out a few weeks ago that I do want to cover, and I'll get back to it, but outside of that particular one, we haven't seen much in the companion space for literally years. And I gotta say, even though Buttons doesn't really seem to have some of those, crazy custom features that some of the other companions feature, what he does feature is a really good dialogue, or really good voice acting behind him. I'll just let that part speak for itself, so here's a few lines from what he has said.
Looks like they fucked off. Good.
Hey, I need to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
See you eyeing the scar on my nose. Long story. Let's just say I still got the shovel.
What are you offering exactly?
You wanted someone to watch your back, didn't you? That's my specialty. Someone tries shooting at you, I spot him and shoot him first. And don't worry about me blowing your cover. I got a light step. They'll never hear me coming.
And yeah, I would say that's pretty much on par with the vanilla companions, which is a professional quality. The mod author and voice actor behind this did an amazing job. The actual lore or story behind him is he's kind of meant to be a Minuteman soldier. He's meant to be exploring the Commonwealth, helping out settlements, and he's pretty profane, but at the same time a coward. I enjoyed my time with Buttons. It's definitely going to be one of the best companion mods we actually have thus far, simply because of the level of quality that the voice acting is bringing to the table. So we got a pretty interesting mod. This is going to be called Annex The Commonwealth, and it's a cool mod. More or less, after installing this, it's going to give you a lore-friendly way to expand the size of most of your settlements around the Commonwealth. It doesn't presently affect every settlement, but it affects like all of the good ones: Red Rocket, Sanctuary, Spectacle Island, Warwick, all of the ones you probably want to be building at. The list goes on longer than that, but I just named some of the most popular settlements that you're probably using. And more or less, after installing this mod, you're going to have to craft a terminal, and from there, you're going to have a bunch of different options, but the main one, actually, for a cost, you can annex some surrounding areas. It's a fairly straightforward mod, but one of the really awesome parts about this that I personally really appreciate is it's meant to be very kind of lore friendly or balanced. It just feels like one of those systems that could have been in Fallout by default. Everything has a cost associated with it. It's not going to be cheap for you to actually annex new land. You're going to have a certain population count, as well as actually have a certain happiness at that population, and it's going to cost a certain amount of caps to actually grow your settlement. But on the flip side, as you actually do annex more land, your population and build limit will increase naturally, so you'll be able to, of course, actually grow into that even if you already reached the settlement limit. It also is meant to work with sim settlements right out of the box. All around, it's a really cool mod. It's a much more lore-friendly way to actually get larger settlements and, take over the Commonwealth with your sim settlements. So you guys have probably seen it at this point. Over a week ago, the Fallout 76 trailer was released. In that, you actually got to look at something we haven't seen for a long time, that being the Pip-boy 2000. It was actually a variant of the Pip-boy 2000 that was first held, technically the Pip-boy 2000 Mark II. Well, there was actually a work in progress mod for Fallout 4 that has now been released, the Pip-boy 2000. This is the Pip-boy that appeared in the original Fallouts, Fallout Tactics, Fallout 2. And as you can see, it's pretty cool. It's going to be the same mod authors that actually made the Pip-head from quite a while ago. And right off the bat, if you played the original Fallouts, you're probably going to have a rush of nostalgia. And just in general, I feel like this thing has kind of a lot of personality behind it. That might not make a ton of sense to some of you, but at least for me, I feel like there's just a lot more going on. There's a lot more to look at outside of the menu system in here. There's all that artwork and the little bulbs on the left side. And yeah, if you actually have the Fall Souls mod installed, which makes it so when the game is paused, it won't actually be paused. There will be still like things moving in the background when you open your Pip-boy. Well, if you have that mod installed, the little lights there will actually flash, which is a really cool touch. Either way, I love this. If you enjoyed the Pip-head, you would probably like this one. If you're really hyped for Fallout 76, then you'll probably enjoy this too.
I've been told to
Then we do have the Lee Enfield. This is another mod that has been in work in progress for quite a while. It's the next mod by ASKAS. It actually is going to eventually be part of a larger pack, that being the Royal Arms pack, but for now we just have the Lee Enfield. Right off the bat, it's going to be modeled by ASKAS and the animations are going to be by Haru. That should be two names you associate with high quality work because they've made tons of high quality weapons for Fallout 4. This is no exception. It looks good, it sounds good, the animations are smooth and slick. There's a bunch of different paint job customization options, and if you like bolt actions, if you like the Lee Enfield specifically, download this mod. You will not be sorry. It actually goes really well with Buttons, who is a marksman. And I gotta say, when you actually have this thing kitted out, no paint job, even though there are all these different flags, just the standard wood texture along with the nice scope that it comes with, and some of that blue tape for flavor, I think it is one of the best looking rifle mods, or at least wood-based rifle mods for Fallout 4 right now. That's totally subjective, and you may disagree with me, but I just really love the aesthetic this one's giving off. It is something that I will be using in my game. These are the type of weapons I use when playing Fallout 4. Bolt actions, things that I could kind of sit back, pick people off with. It actually features a fairly short quest that seems pretty familiar, almost like I just experienced something almost identical to it. And if this is any indication as to what the Royal Arms pack is going to be, you should be very excited for that also. And last but not least, we have the release of the Handmade Anti-Materiel Rifle REDUX. This, of course, being a mod that already exists for Fallout 4. Technically, before it was the makeshift Anti-Materiel Rifle, but now it is the Handmade Anti-Materiel Rifle. Either way, it's out, it's here, and it's pretty freaking cool. So the main takeaway from this new variant is it's pretty much everything you had with the older version. It just looks a lot better. The animations are new and now done by War Daddy, and especially the sprinting animation, I'm just a personal fan of. I think it looks pretty sleek. I'm going to say just overall when using this now, it feels like there's a greater level of polish. There's more options in customization, especially seemingly in the caliber types. It without a doubt looks better. Right after downloading this, you could tell the aesthetics are brightened up and just all around look a little bit more lively. And I personally love the design of this one. I love that handmade or makeshift design, whichever you want to call it. Something I've been pushing for, and there's not too many mods actually doing it, but this is one that I think does it really well and should be an example to others. The takeaway here is if you don't have this mod downloaded already, you probably should. It's again a great addition to your game. It'll be integrated into the level list of higher level gunners and it kind of fits naturally on them. And if we're using the previous version, uninstall that and install this one because it's pretty much just a straight upgrade. That's pretty going to wrap it up for this video, but for today's psychology fun fact of the day, I want to talk about something pertaining to sleeping and short sleepers. But before we jump into that, it's actually going to be sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp's going to be a service that's going to allow you to get counseling online through a variety of different means. You can just do the standard and pretty hands-off text chat. You can go for a voice chat of some sort or a phone call or even Skype or some other kind of video chat. It's really meant to just make it as easy as possible for you to get some of those issues solved. They have literally thousands of different options for mental health specialists. And it's just one of those things, if you feel like you're having an issue, just don't ignore it. Give it a shot. Talk to somebody. Sometimes you don't even realize how much it can help or how much better it can make your life day to day. If you are interested or you just want to try it out, there is going to be a link down below. But for this fun fact, we do have short sleepers. So this is an interesting phenomenon that more or less is characterized by people who can regularly function with 6 or less hours of sleep per night. So a lot of people typically need 7 to 9 hours. That's like the healthy recommended amount. And the thing with sleep is even if you get 4 or 5 hours of sleep multiple nights in a row, you're typically going to have a debt almost is a way I've seen it described. So let's say on the weekdays you only sleep 4 or 5 hours, but on the weekends you make up for it by sleeping 12 hours. So a normal sleeper is going to average 7 to 9 hours a night, at least that's the healthy amount. Well, short sleepers are people who actually have a genetic modification. It occurs seemingly randomly in a very small portion of the US population, and these are people that again can sleep 6 or less hours a night regularly. So 7 days a week, let's say they only get 4 hours of sleep and they wake up feeling totally refreshed. It's not something you train your body to do. It's just literally as you're a kid, you're going to realize, hey, I'm waking up really early and not getting that much sleep overall because your body simply doesn't need it. To kind of expand off this, it's a big mystery as to why our bodies need sleep. There's a ton of conflicting theories, but one of them is actually to do with memory. I've kind of touched on this in the past, but I figure I'll bring it up here. One thing that actually goes on is when you're sleeping, your body is going to consolidate your memories from that day. So if you ever heard of the phrase getting blackout drunk, that's typically because your body doesn't go through that consolidation process. So some of those memories from the night before don't kind of get processed by your brain and they won't get stored in your long-term memory. Hence, you can't remember them the next day. day. It's a really important process, and it's a vital reason as to why sleep is so important, especially when studying for a test. Either way, it's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. As always, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys all next time. Later.